Thanks for joining us for the Clive Barker Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to the imagination of Clive Barker. In episode 308, Huluraiser, Jose and Ryan break down all the recent news about the Hellraiser movie on Hulu and the TV series on HBO, as well as Candyman update and other news. This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination shop is dedicated to benefiting the arts and medicine program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. Up to 50% of the proceeds will support the program, where artist Don Bertram volunteers monthly. Don Bertram is a longtime friend of Clive and celebrates and continues to be inspired by his art. He uses that inspiration to help kids through the Texas Children's Cancer Center, and we couldn't be more thrilled to continue to work with him. There's a news feature video that shows Don working with the kids at Texas Children's Cancer Center and his artwork. Click on the side banner at www.clivebarkercast.com to find links to videos and his Etsy shop, where you can buy his prints, books, and support this wonderful program. Well, welcome. This is episode 308 of the Clive Barker Podcast. And good morning, Jose. I can actually say good morning, and we're in the closer enough time zone that it's morning time for both of us.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm in Ohio, and you're in Washington State, right?
Yeah. So it's 3 hours difference now instead of 4.
You're coming to us a little closer than Alaska this time.
Yeah. I'm in eastern Washington in Prosser, by the near the Columbia River.
Yeah, you're visiting family, right?
Yeah. I'm at my mom's vineyard and winery.
Nice. Wow. It seems like now that lockdown is started to be lifted and stuff, people are just taking this opportunity to go travel and see their family relatives again. Yeah,
and Jennifer wanted to visit her mom in Hoodsport, which is quite a ways away. So we went down. That's on the west coast on the Key Peninsula. So we went there first, spent a few days there, and then Joel and I drove down and visited Rob. And podcast listeners would probably recognize my brother Rob as he's a voice on the Jericho Squad. He helps out with the maps and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's the techie.
Yeah, so we drove south and visited him at the southern part of Washington and southwestern, and then in Kelso. And then we went he took us down to Portland, Oregon, and we got on a train and took a 4-hour train ride over here. So wow. That's just Joel and I. Jennifer's still hanging out with her mom. So and then we're all going to meet up at SeaTac Airport on Tuesday and fly back up.
I've seen pictures of you and your brother when you guys were kids, like Christmas and stuff.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't think I've seen a recent picture of your brother yet.
Oh yeah, right.
I should probably add him to my friends on Facebook.
Oh yeah. You'll mostly see videos of him driving his Jeep through a river and stuff.
Oh yeah, does he like to go?
Oh yeah,
kind of an outdoorsy kind of guy.
Yeah, he loves doing that. He took us through the river too. He went and we brought his dog along, and we threw tennis balls for her in the river.
Oh, nice. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was pretty cool
for a summer vacation.
Yeah.
I'm in Ohio, so last night we had a tornado warning, and it's just been weird and muggy and really hot. But then all of a sudden it gets cold and rainy. So yeah, didn't have a good Friday night yesterday. The cats were scared. The thunder was roaring for hours, and I got a message saying I need to get to a shelter because there's a tornado warning. And I'm like, I'll take my chances. And, 3 hours later, it died down and finally went to sleep. But it's morning here. It's Saturday the 19th. It's Juneteenth. It's the day that slavery ended in the United States so many years ago.
That seems like sort of a flippant name for an important holiday.
Yeah. You could also call it Emancipation Day.
Yeah, that would probably be better.
Yeah. But, we got some stuff here in the news to talk about. So a lot of developments, especially on the Hellraiser front, right?
Yeah. But first we'll start out with this one. I was afraid was going to be done by the time we got to our news episode, but it's still there. If you go over to Dark Regions Press, they were a former sponsor of ours. Go over to Dark Regions Press's website, And there's this, and we've got a link in the show notes, but there's a giveaway. If you, and all you have to do, I believe, is follow them on social media, and I think maybe sign up for their newsletter. And you're entered in a giveaway to get the Suntup Imajica artist edition. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not social media stuff. It's just entering in your email to subscribe to Dark Region's newsletter.
Hey, Ryan?
Yeah.
It says the giveaway will be active until May 31st, 2021.
Okay. The website is still up. Oh, dang it. Thank you for catching that. Okay. Well, anyway, this was a really cool giveaway by Dark Regions Press, and I hope that one of our listeners got one.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's a great looking book, right? It was an artist edition.
Yeah. I mean, now we're doing news episodes more like once a month, so this will happen sometimes. Our news kind of has an expiration date, and sometimes we don't. I don't see it.
It says this is special edition of Imajica is scheduled to ship on the winter of 2021. So you still got a few months to get this book if you won the giveaway. In any case, just sign up for the Dark Regions Press newsletter anyway. It gives you news about all cool stuff that they're releasing, and you will get stuff like, Clive Barker books that they've discovered a few more copies and they're putting up for sale and stuff like that. And other authors, of course.
Yeah, and Dark Regions Press are neat because they're a publisher, so they publish they've published some Clive Barker books over the years, but they're also a reseller. So they sell other books by other publishers, and it's a good way to find Clive Barker books, the more newish ones that you didn't, that maybe you didn't get before.
Sure. Yep. So Suntup Imajica. By the way, I still haven't heard anybody in our listener audience that came to us with any pictures of their books.
Yeah,
maybe they haven't gotten them yet.
I think that's what it is. Same deal as as what we were just talking about. I think it's like you said the winter.
Yeah. So everybody's going to be posting pictures of their amazing editions come winter, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to look at that and see videos and unboxing stuff.
Yeah. Shout out to the Clive Barker collecting group. I think that's where we're going to see the most of that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. That group's amazing. That's that one and the other one that has all the artwork. There's a...
Oh, yeah.
What's the name of that one?
Clive Barker Art Owners, I think is what it is.
Yeah. If you guys own like Clive Barker drawings or paintings, you should probably join that one on Facebook, Clive Barker Art Owners, because there's all sorts of collectors there that some people that I never heard of.
Yeah,
and they have some pretty amazing like paintings in their living rooms, in their bedrooms, in their offices, and sketches and all that stuff. Yeah. So wow, I just got myself a few frames this weekend because I think it was Michael's or something. They were doing this buy one get three frames.
Oh wow, geez.
Yeah,
okay,
I know, right? Yeah. You buy one, they give you two for free.
Yeah,
and we bought a few because I have so many posters and stuff. But we bought a few 24 by 36. So this weekend we're going to have some fun, like putting those posters in there. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff. I got an Aberrat poster that I would love to put in one of those frames. You know that big Aberrat poster that came in an envelope that said Aberrat, and back in the day.
Oh yeah, with the islands.
Yeah, I got one of those thanks to Stephanie Irabaran. She sent it to me once, and she said, "Hey, I want to give this a good home, so I'm sending it over to you." And that's perfect for me to put in one of those frames and hang it up in the office.
I still have that. I forget where did it originally? I think it come with the beneath the that Aberrat supplemental book.
No, I don't think it did, because I did buy that when it came out, and I didn't get any of that. I think this was a promotional thing that came with the first Aberrat book or something.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I know I have one, but it's been so long I can't remember why I have it.
Sure.
It's still in its envelope.
That was the Suntup Imajica giveaway. Probably be seeing more pictures of that in a few months. And speaking of Juneteenth, Candyman promotion is back.
Yeah. So this was kind of interesting because we hadn't heard anything other than we know that the Candyman movie is supposed to come out in August in theaters, and maybe just theaters. I think nobody said anything about HBO Max. I mean, you might be able to make that assumption, but so far all we know is that it's going to be in theaters in August.
Yeah. August 27th.
But now Nia DaCosta kind of came out and she did a video talking about Candyman and talking about Juneteenth, and there's this article that sort of coalesces all of it together has a bunch of like production photos. On Bloody Disgusting is the article. And
That's right.
And special thanks to Catalina of Little Spark Films for pointing this out to us.
Yeah, she sent that to us through Messenger. And the press release explains that Juneteenth is a day that has historically recognized the perseverance and power of the black community. Over the last 2 years, taking time to recognize and reflect on this holiday has only gained added significance. Black art and black storytelling in particular provides audiences the opportunity to see both the reality and the possibility of black lives in America. And on another note, it just became a federal holiday. Some of you may have not worked yesterday because Juneteenth became a federal holiday this year.
Wow.
I think they're about to sign that. Yeah, like my wife, she works as a contractor for the Air Force, and she didn't work yesterday because they got an email saying, hey, this Saturday is going to be a federal holiday, so you guys can take Friday off.
Well, I'm on vacation, but I'm pretty sure that my where I work, they probably have to renegotiate that holiday in with the union. So it's probably going to be a whole year before they can consider giving us another holiday.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the possibility of this movie being on HBO Max, and you were wondering if it's going to be on any streaming platform. I do remember that some time ago they came out to say that they wanted this to be a theater experience, right?
Yeah, that's what I remember too, and that was really important to them to have this sort of communal theatrical experience. But so many movies have the day and date, same time, HBO Max and theatrical run, and
That's true.
Because it's scary because there's so many places where theaters are closed. And then when you do go, they can you're limited to how many people they can put in there, and they space the seats apart. So I don't know. I mean, it's scary not for us. It's not scary for us. It's scary for them because maybe you physically just can't make enough money on a theatrical release by itself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, right now, I don't know what your experience is in Alaska or in Prosser.
Prosser, yeah.
Yeah. Here in Ohio, ever since the mask mandate was lifted, it's like things have just gone back to normal. It's like nobody wears a mask anymore.
Well, and that stuff is now, it's like the government's not getting involved, and it's the discretion of these companies.
Yeah, and it's like you go to a restaurant, and it's no longer like the half of the tables. Now it's back to full-on capacity.
Yeah.
And,
and I'm sure that depends on where you are. But when we rode the Amtrak train, they were very strict about masks. They said, they made an announcement when you get on the train, and they're like, okay, you get 3 warnings for not wearing a mask, and consider this your first warning. And you get 2 more after that if we catch you not wearing a mask. And on the 3rd warning,
they throw you off the train.
They really do. Yeah, you have to get off at the next stop.
They don't even wait for it to stop. They just throw you face down in the gravel.
Yeah, no, they really do. They really do kick you off the train, which is scary because this train ride we were on, like we would have been out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's not that big of a deal to wear a mask, and I don't want to make it seem like it is. But they're just very, they're very strict. And also I didn't like that they shut the bathroom down at the train station. I mean, I'd been driving around Portland with Rob and his wife Becky, and we went to Voodoo Donuts, because that's kind of a Portland landmark sort of a thing. And it's like I had to go to the bathroom, and they closed they had signs up, no public bathrooms available to the public. Or no bathrooms available to the public, and it's like
that's right.
Obviously because of COVID, but people need to use the bathroom, and we're stuck here waiting here for the train.
The reason I was bringing that up was because I haven't been to a theater yet, and I don't think one of the last movies I might have seen in the theater. I'm trying to remember which one it was. It might have been Star Wars Episode 8 or something. I don't know. That might have been
or 9.
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi was the middle one.
Yeah, that's the one. I didn't see the third one in the theater.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't see.
Wow, that is
the
a
Rise
long
of Skywalker.
That is a long time.
It is a long time. But I would love to see the Candyman in the theater. I would love to. I mean,
well, and in Fairbanks, I thought our theater was gone for good, but they reopened on May 1st, and I have not been back to see a movie there. I mean, I saw Godzilla vs. Kong on HBO Max on the TV.
Okay. Yeah, I would imagine watching that in a big screen would be amazing. I'm looking forward to that. But I was just looking at these pictures, production pictures that they put up in the Bloody Disgusting article about Candyman, and I could see one of them. So sometimes there's like characters talking or whatever. Sometimes it's Nia directing some actors on set. Like she's directing Yahya Abdul-Mateen II on the set of Candyman. And in one of the shots, you see the character played by Coleman Domingo as William Burke. He's reading Clive Barker's Weave World on a laundromat in one of the photos. So that's pretty cool that they put that little book in there.
Oh, wow.
Weave World. And I'm sure that's I don't think he was reading that between takes. I think that's going to be in the movie. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
A cool reference.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. That's awesome.
There's a new teaser poster, too, at the end of this, right?
It
says, I dare you, Candyman. So there's a picture from Candyman seen from the back, and he's got his right arm up with the hook, and there's a B on the hook, and then in yellow letters on his jacket it says, I dare you. And, of course, it's I dare you say his name. That's what I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's neat.
Pretty cool.
And they're teasing us because they don't want to show his face because it's possible that Yahya Abdul-Mateen might become the Candyman. We don't really know exactly how this is going to work. Kind of like Helen sort of became Candyman in a roundabout way, in the first movie. They
keep bringing up things like this every other month or so, trying to keep Candyman in the general mind of what's going on, so people won't forget about it, which I think is great.
It's a year and a half since the first release date, so that's rough. So that's a lot that they need to do with marketing, and anything they can do for free with blogs and stuff like this is really good. Yeah.
But for those who forgot about what the movie's going to be like, it says here, synopsis, for as long as residents can remember, the housing projects of Chicago's Cabrini Green neighborhood were terrorized by a word-of-mouth ghost story about a supernatural killer with a hook for a hand, easily summoned by those daring to repeat his name 5 times into a mirror. In present day, a decade after the last of the Cabrini Towers were torn down, visual artist Anthony McCoy, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and his girlfriend, gallery director Brianna Cartwright, played by Tiona Paris, move into a luxury loft condo in Cabrini, now gentrified beyond recognition and inhabited by upwardly mobile millennials. It says, with Anthony's painting career on the brink of stalling, a chance encounter with a Cabrini Green old-timer, played by Coleman Domingo, exposes Anthony to the tragically horrific nature of the true story behind Candyman. Anxious to maintain his status in the Chicago art world, Anthony begins to explore these macabre details in his studio as fresh grist for paintings, unknowingly opening a door to a complex past that unravels his own sanity and unleashes a terrifying viral wave of violence that puts him on a collision course with destiny.
Doesn't that also kind of remind you a little bit of the movie version of the Midnight Meat Train? Because it's like his career was like he's almost there, but the photographer's almost there, but he's not quite good enough for this, for Brooke Shields' gallery, and if he could
take more chances.
Yeah, exactly.
More real.
Yeah, and then it's like, nope, now it's too real. It's like in Hellraiser, right? I mean, you push, and now you push too far.
Yeah, Frank is pushing the envelope on his hedonism, and all of a sudden he finds himself pushed out of the world entirely into the arms of the Cenobites.
Yeah, exactly.
Who then give him so much that it's too much. Anyway, so that's, Candyman news. Again, August 27th, so mark that on your calendars.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to change anymore. I think this is going to be it. basically.
I hope so. Yeah, man. Well, theaters are technically open. I just don't know how much coverage you can get with theaters anymore.
Yeah, I think now that over half of the population is vaccinated, and that we're aiming for maybe reaching 70% by July 4th. That's what they're trying to push for.
Wow.
Then yeah, I mean, by August we'll be in a much better position. Right now, it's just, I know this is not the COVID-19 podcast, but it's like 98% of the new COVID cases have been happening on people who are not vaccinated. So
yeah, they're filling. Those guys are filling up the hospital.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Get vaccinated. PSA.
Yeah, man, I don't know if because in Fairbanks we've got more vaccinations than per capita than anywhere in the whole world, and they've got vaccinations everywhere, and we only 41% of the eligible people got them, and so they've got them in, like, you go into Walmart and there's a little sign, hey, you can get vaccinated here. You can go to Costco and get vaccinated right on the spot, no appointments or anything, and people are just not doing it.
And since it's Costco, you can get 5 shots for the price of one.
Right. Or you can get a shot that's so big you have to strap it to the roof of your car.
Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, I mean, I want to go back to watching movies. Gosh, I want to go back to having fun. I want my summer back, and
But it's weird though. I mean, doesn't it? I mean, after almost 2 years of wearing masks, doesn't it feel weird to get into a crowded place and see a bunch of people with no masks?
It does. I still wear my mask. I still do that because I spoke to my doctor and I asked him some questions, and he was explaining to me, like, well, I mean, yeah, you got vaccinated, but you can still get the flu if someone like coughs on your face. I mean, so it's not going to be as bad as unvaccinated, but you can still get sick. You can be in bed for like a couple of days.
I've heard that there's and I'm not a doctor, but I heard there's like a 0.05% chance of breakthrough cases where you can get COVID even if you've had the vaccine. It's not it's a really, really low chance.
Sure. But anyway, so I'm still I got concerts I'm gonna go in July, and we already bought tickets for that, and I don't think they're gonna be changing that date anymore at this point. But so I'm looking forward to going there. I'm probably gonna wear a mask if I go to like a movie theater or a crowded concert or a crowded restaurant. I don't care. I'm still gonna use that even if nobody else is using it, because I didn't get sick a single time this whole year, But and right now that things are open up again and no masks are being used, I was listening to the radio the other day and they were talking about how, now your kids might be getting flu season because now kids are going back to school and they're not vaccinated. So
they can't. I mean, now it's cleared for up to 12-year-olds, but my son is 9. So, and this is the first time in his life that he actually wanted to get a shot, and I have to tell him, I'm sorry, you're not old enough, you can't.
Right, yeah. But anyway, so kids are, back to playing outside and all that, so they're getting sick again. And that's people are going to, people are going to be a little concerned, like.
And the kids may not show symptoms, but they'll still bring it home to their families, and if they've got unvaccinated families, then those people end up in the hospital.
And they sneeze, and the little noses get full of snot, and they wipe it on their sleeves, and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? And then your kid comes home with his friend, and his friend is sneezing all over the place, and you're like, hey Timmy, what's going on with you? So I don't know. We kind of forgot that people do get sick several times a year if they're not careful.
Well, that's true. That's true. You can still get regular flus. I mean, COVID
we just
sort
didn't
of
get a lot of those because people weren't doing anything. They were just staying at home or wearing masks and stuff. And that's still a good way too. Yeah. Anyway, we should move on from this.
It's an interesting topic that affects everybody, so it's easy to get sort of sucked in there. Okay, but. So now here's something that's got almost zero consequence, but it's sort of in our wheelhouse. The new Masters of the Universe cartoon series that's coming out on Netflix by Kevin Smith is going to do homages in the different various episodes to 80s stuff. So one of the episodes is going to have an homage, they say, to Hellraiser.
Right. Yeah, Kevin Smith from Dogma and,
Clerks.
Mallrats and Clerks. Looks like he's a showrunner and executive producer.
Wow,
for Masters of the Universe Revelation.
That picture of Skeletor on the cover is pretty neat looking.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. Did you watch the trailer yet?
No, I haven't.
It's looking pretty sweet. It's looking like great animation.
Episode 4 is the one that's supposed to reference Hellraiser.
Yeah, and they're bringing back all those characters from the original show. Beastman. And they look just the same. There's that guy with a big eye, Cyclops.
I'm going to get a little nerdy on He-Man stuff, but when I was a kid, I started collecting those things before the cartoon ever came out, and they came they came with little comic books, and the comic books told the story of He-Man. And when the cartoon came out, I got mad because the cartoon was not it didn't follow the same story as the comics. There was no such thing as Prince Adam, like having this Clark Kent version of He-Man. That didn't exist.
Oh, it was just full on He-Man 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, and it seemed to me it was sort of a pandering toy commercial. I don't know.
It's a superhero kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and
Superman goes into the phone booth and turns into Superman.
Yeah, right. And it's I guess it's relatable because everybody knows Superman that way, but it was kind of lame. I mean, that you look at Prince Adam and he's obviously He-Man. He's not. He's just He-Man with different clothes on.
Well, yeah, just like Clark Kent is Superman with glasses on.
Yeah, well, and then there's Cringer and Battle Cat, and Cringer. It's like, why does the cat have to be a coward and then turn into not a coward, but he still looks exactly the same except he's wearing armor? I don't know. It's dumb. They don't have to transform when they are exactly the same.
Because being cowardly is Clark Kent glasses. So nobody.
Yeah, except for Clark.
Battle Cat was so brave would be Cringer.
Except that
so they just
Clark Kent does it as an act, right?
I mean, exactly. Yeah.
But He-Man and Battle Cat aren't doing an act. They he holds up his sword and they all transform. And now I'm not a coward anymore.
So one thing I wanted to ask you is, so it always seemed like the Castle Grayskull is a giant skull, right? Mm-hmm. And that used to be where Skeletor lived, right?
No, he had his own castle. So Grayskull is like this contested sort of seat of power that He-Man and Skeletor both want. And in fact, when you bought the original figures, He-Man and Skeletor both had the two halves of the sword of Grayskull. And when they snapped together, and you could use that as a key to open the drawbridge on the Grayskull playset.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I watched the cartoons, and I never had the toys. So you had the toys, and you only watched the cartoons later.
Yeah.
I watched the cartoons and never had the toys because I lived in Portugal, and the toys were imported from the U.S. and Japan and whatever they were made. So they were a little more expensive than they might have been here in the U.S. So it was kind of expensive to buy those figurines. So I never got to have those. I had like G.I. Joes.
Had,
other stuff like I had a Secret Wars Doctor Doom and stuff like that. But all those like American-made toys, sometimes they were kind of hard to get in certain countries in Europe because they were imported. So they were more costly. So I never got to have that. But now it's crazy with this Netflix new show coming out.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. I go to this little vintage vinyl and collectibles place here in Miamisburg, and someone just dropped a whole box of original Masters of the Universe figurines. So they clean them up, they put them in little Ziploc bags, they tag them with prices, and now they have all of those like for sale. So I was looking at those the other day. I was like, wow, someone really like dug through their attic, and they have pretty much an entire collection for sale. And I was like, hey, I wanted to have a Skeletor. But then the part of me that's still a kid is like, yeah, let's get the Skeletor and the He-Man. And the part of me that's like a 42-year-old is like, yeah, we don't need that. That's you don't need that. You don't need to pay $30 for a couple of figurines.
Yeah, and coming home and explaining that to your spouse.
Oh, she loves them. I mean, really? She has all the She-Ra figurines. She has Sarah bought all the She-Ra figurines except for the 4th.
Oh, wow.
Season thing or whatever, because they only made like a few, and that's when...
Oh, you're talking about from the new Netflix She-Ra?
No.
The original, yeah.
The 80s, yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, when She-Ra came out, I'm like, why are they doing this? He-Man there's already a girl. Because, like, there was Tila, yeah. Why didn't Tila get a show instead of...
The Sorceress.
Instead of making a brand new character. I mean, it's cool. It doesn't matter. But as a kid, as a young... like 10-year-old boy, and like, there's already a girl.
You're a little, you got a little like triggered by it.
Yeah, like, yeah.
These are just for boys. No, yeah, but so they had the little horses, and the horses had hair, and they could comb the hair and all that stuff. So
it was they were trying to sort of make a Barbie. Yeah, Barbie, My Little Pony version of He-Man.
Right. Yeah, but yeah. So I hear what you're saying. Like, for example, the toys were a little different from the cartoons. The She-Ra one also was different because in the figurines, the villain was a woman called Catra, but in the She-Ra cartoon, it was Hordak.
Yeah.
So.
Hordak was from the Masters of the Universe. He was a later sort of addition. The evil Horde were like a common enemy that He-Man and Skeletor both hated.
Yeah, so welcome to the Masters of the Universe podcast.
Yeah. Oh, there was one ship that had like an eagle wing sort of shape, and it came with a comic book that had a play along record with it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I saw something like that as well, along with the figurines in that shop I was talking about. They had like a storybook with a little 45 that said a story about He-Man.
That was probably it, because I think that's the only one that you could get like that. And I remember it had Triclops standing on the in front of the throne with Skeletor and
right.
He had screwed up, and Skeletor moves the throne, and the trapdoor opens, and Triclops falls down in the pit, and he's like, "Serves the fool right."
Ha.
Yeah.
But so back to this Kevin Smith thing.
Yes.
His tweet said, "In honor of the era in which Masters Official began, each of the 5 episodes in Part 1 of our series homages a different 80s flick. So Episode 1 will be Superman 2. Episode 2 is going to be Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Episode 3 is going to homage Batman. Episode 4, Hellraiser, like you said. And Episode 5, Masters of the Universe movie from 87. So I got a feeling that this Hellraiser homage is probably going to be some sort of artifact, like it's going to be a box or something. That's what I'm thinking.
You know what I don't get? I mean, this is cool and everything, but I think it would be better if they didn't tell us all this. I mean, if they just let us figure it out on our own.
Sure, but at the same time, I think this kind of gets people excited to watch the show because the fans of these movies are going to be like, well, I'm going to see what they're going to do in this episode. So otherwise, we may not even have watched it at all, right? So that's kind of another little way of gathering up interest and whipping up fan interest in the new Masters of the Universe TV show. But I would watch it anyway because I saw the trailer and I was like, hey, this looks pretty cool. Yeah. Just like Netflix had Castlevania. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is so cool. And I wasn't I wasn't a huge Castlevania fan. I played through the first one when I was a kid on the Nintendo, but that show is great. It's way better than they make sense of some really silly stuff. The fact that Dracula's son is named Alucard, which is just Dracula backwards.
Right.
That's the dumbest. Who came up with that?
And the Godzilla cartoons on Netflix are pretty good too.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a new one coming out next month or next week, I think. There's supposed to be a whole new Godzilla anime that should be better than those last ones that just came out.
Sure.
It's called like Godzilla Ultimate something, or I forget.
Well, one of them was really. I saw one of those a few months ago, and I was like, "Wow, this is like in the future. People coming back from space, and then and
Godzilla is still there. They were hoping that he would be gone.
There.
Yeah,
it's like the world was taken over by kaiju's, and people had to leave, in Ark and stuff, and then they come back. I was like, wow, that really goes places with the story.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. I want to see if they're going to bring a box to the Masters of the Universe, or it's going to be like some sort of Cenobite-looking creature, whatever. I'm betting on a box, on an artifact.
I wonder if they'll do the origin of why Skeletor is the way he is, because that's never, as far as I know, that's never been explained.
Oh, yeah.
I remember there was one of those comic books where he was pretending to be the king of Grayskull, and He-Man went in there to talk to him, and He-Man discovered that he had just put a bunch of clay on his face to make a real face.
Oh, my God, really?
Yeah.
That's so silly. Speaking of Hellraiser and all this stuff, Hellraiser Reboot will be on Hulu.
Yeah, and this is going to tie into the rest of our news for the whole rest of this episode. This is a little disappointing because I think that in the past they had said that this was going to be a theatrical film, and now making it exclusive to Hulu is a little bit like saying it's direct to video. It's like the modern equivalent, right, of being direct to video.
It seemed like they were saying, we want to bring this to the screens, just like David Bruckner, was part of the rebirth of Halloween.
Yeah.
They're doing that Halloween 2 and 3, but this Hulu release from Spyglass Entertainment. It's I don't know what to think about this. Like, I wrote some notes here. Let me go get my notes. I forgot I had notes.
Oh, they're down at the bottom there. I just moved them out. Yeah.
So like in my notes I wrote, I think it's kind of a shame that Hellraiser Reboot's being dumped into streaming instead of theaters. I used dumped. Maybe that's a hard word.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to be a one-off. That's my concern. It's like, because Clive Barker is getting the rights back to the Hellraiser movies on December of this year.
Right. Yeah. So are they concerned that we don't know when this is going to come out still, right? I mean, all we know is that it's Hulu. So they may get it done in time before Clive gets the rights back, or maybe not. I don't know.
And I don't know exactly to what extent Clive has been in talks with them, because Clive did have the Books of Blood on Hulu. So is this because Clive had a working relationship with Hulu? Is this why it's going to Hulu? But the article makes it seem like Spyglass Entertainment made a deal with Hulu, and Hulu offered them, a lot of money for it.
And we're going to get into some speculation by a YouTube video and stuff a little late in a bit, but this idea that Clive was somehow involved, I don't know. I don't know because I think because he has never mentioned this Hulu remake. I mean the remake movie one. He's talked about being involved with the HBO TV series. But he's never really talked much about this other one.
Yeah, and more important, this article from MovieWeb does not mention Clive being a part of this deal at all. So it says here, the upcoming Hellraiser remake, which is being put together by the folks at Spyglass Media, along with director David Bruckner, will debut on Hulu. Yeah. It says Spyglass and Bruckner have partnered with the streaming service to bring Pinhead back to the silver screen.
Yeah. And Hulu doesn't need to have Clive Barker involved to realize, like, hey, we've already got another Clive Barker thing. Let's do the Hellraiser one, too.
Right.
Yeah.
It says here, financial terms of the deal have not been disclosed, so it's unclear just how much Hulu had to shell out to make this deal happen. So, again, there's no mention of Clive in this deal, in this article.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I'm not going to be naive to say that, nobody spoke to Clive about this. They probably have, but at the same time, it's he's got his own thing going on, right? For HBO Max, the TV show.
Yeah, and he could be working on both, but you'd think he would have mentioned it then if he was involved with this one.
It does say here on the article on MovieWeb, it says, over the years, several sequels have been produced. Most recently, we got Hellraiser Judgment in 2018. There is no word yet on how involved Clive Barker will be with this remake, though he is set to regain the rights to the franchise in December of this year. That undoubtedly presents an interesting wrinkle. Yeah, so we don't know when it's going to come out. It says, there is no word yet on how soon production is expected to begin on the Hellraiser remake, nor is it clear when we can expect to see it arrive on Hulu. We'll be sure to keep you posted as any further details on the project are made available.
Yeah.
So that's all we know.
And then this kind of dovetails into this next news, which I started to see. I mean, we started to see this Mr. H video. It showed up on Hellraiser Hellbound Web group, and then on Occupy Midian, and it got everybody arguing about, because the title of it is like gender swapped Pinhead in the new Hellraiser remake.
Yeah.
And so it's like, at first I was commenting like, hey, this is just rumors. Don't get all excited about rumors or whatever. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to keep saying that, I probably should actually watch the video and see where he's getting his news from. So I watched
from Illuminati.
Yes,
Illuminati.com website, which I've never heard about.
Exactly. So I watched the video, and then I looked up the articles on Illuminati, which looks like a clickbait website who doesn't cite any sources for this information. They just make it sound like, and we are privileged to know, at Illuminati to give you this exclusive detail. And so one thing that really bugged me about that Mr. H video is that he was conflating the HBO series and the Hulu remake together into one thing, because there were two separate articles. One of them was about a lead actress who Mr. H was saying was going to be playing the Kirsty part, Odessa Zion. Right? Mm-hmm. And he's making an assumption that this is a remake of the original Hellraiser story, that we don't know that. All we know is that it's a Hellraiser movie, and the word reboot means like they're kicking the series back up again, right? It doesn't mean that it's a remake of the original movie.
Here's what I got from this. So the Illuminati article talks about Odessa Zion is going to be a main protagonist, and she's been cast in the lead role of the Hellraiser reboot.
I think that one is the Hulu movie one.
I apologize for that.
Yeah. What he mixed up is that he's talking. Then the main thrust of his article, or the clickbaity part of it, was that Pinhead is gonna be gender swapped, and he said that was on this Hulu remake, and he spent this whole video talking about, but. When you click on his Illuminati article about it, they're talking about
the HBO series.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So right, yeah. So what I was going to say is they keep calling it the reboot of Hellraiser. They keep saying about the movie, but they're talking about the TV show.
Yeah, so there are two articles, and each article is about a different Hellraiser project. Odessa Zion, who's going to be the female lead, is in the Hulu project. And I think that this gender swap rumor thing is about the HBO series project. Based on what I read from those, I'm sorry, but poorly written articles,
Sure. They're a little confusing, but I don't think production started on the David Bruckner Spyglass Hulu thing, so...
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying these are facts. I still believe these are rumors.
Right.
Yeah, but Mr. H, I think, conflated them both to be about the Hulu thing, when I think one of them is about HBO and one of them is about Hulu.
Because, okay, hear me out. I read these this morning when I was preparing for this. Right?
Okay.
So the first article that came out from Illuminati talks about the horror series. Okay, so they're saying... Yeah,
and that's the gender swap one.
What right? So they're saying that there's new Hellraiser details, and that they're gonna the new Pinhead is gonna be gender swapped, which is not really swapped because the Hellbound Heart says that the bejeweled Pin Cenobite
is androgynous and has a breathy, effeminate voice.
The breathy voice of a girl or something. But it doesn't even mean that he's a girl. It doesn't mean that he's anything. Yeah. At this time in the novella, I thought the Cenobites were not human. I thought they were demonic, right? I thought they were creatures from a different dimension, a different hell. And then it was in the movies that they started saying, well, no, Pinhead was this guy from World War One, Elliot Spencer and all that stuff. And then he was turned into Pinhead. And then the whole lore kind of stemmed from there. Mm-hmm. But so in this one, they're saying that the Pinhead's going to be played by probably a female lead, which I'm okay with. I mean, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, and that's talking about the HBO series.
Right. And then even the comic books, the Boom comics, Hellraiser comics, they ended up making, Kirsty become Pinhead and all that stuff. So that kind of worked really well. And
Paul Kane's new Hellbound Heart audio drama, right, had a female voice.
Oh, yeah, the Hellbound Heart adaptation that they did. Yeah, that was. The one with Odessa as Zion is a rumored cast for the David Bruckner Hulu movie.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, sorry.
So that's where I'm at. And Mr. H said they were both rumors about the Hulu remake movie. And he didn't talk about the HBO series at all.
That's what's confusing.
Yeah.
So you're right. So I did notice that. I was watching his video this morning before we did this, and I did get a little confused, and that's why I guess we were a little confused now. But you're right. So it says here on Bloody Disgusting that is actually quoting the Illuminati. It says, originally reported by the website The Illuminati this week, Bloody Disgusting has been able to confirm Odessa Zion has landed the leading role in the next Hellraiser movie. And I don't think she's going to be the gender swap Pinhead. I think she's going to be Kirsty or Riley or whatever she's going to be.
Riley. So, I mean, I think he's making a lot of assumptions by saying that this is going to be like a remake of the first Hellraiser movie. We don't know that, right? He's saying that she's going to be the new Kirsty, but going by the name Riley. Well, if she's got another name, why does she have to be a Kirsty character? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, is this really? I don't think that this is necessarily a remake of Hellraiser. I think that's going a little too far, making that assumption. All we know is it's a Hellraiser movie, and that they're calling it a reboot, which means like, hey, this series has been on sort of a hiatus for a while. We're kicking it back in gear again, and we're making another Hellraiser movie.
Well, maybe it's because the synopsis for this movie keeps bringing up that it's Frank finds a box and then meets the Cenobites, and that's been showing up on every article about this Hellraiser reboot.
They're saying that there's going to be Uncle Frank?
Well, in this Hellraiser remake Hulu from MovieWeb, it just brings up that
they reference the first movie. Yeah, Hellraiser, a movie in which blah blah. That's right. Yeah, and I get so annoyed by that. I always skip over when they're, these articles feel like they need to describe the plot of Hellraiser. I'm like, come on. I guess I get it if your audience is general horror, but I don't have the patience for that with our own art. When we were writing news articles, I didn't do that. I give our audience credit to know what the plot of Hellraiser is.
Right. So it's just that this has become so confusing because now it's like there's a TV show and there's going to be a movie and there are different projects and things kind of get a little conflated, and there's not a lot of information about the Spyglass Entertainment project.
I have to say I'm more excited about the HBO series than the Hulu one. And there's been a lot more news about the HBO series. Clive got involved with it. Mm-hmm. HBO, you think of higher quality, higher budget kind of stuff with HBO because they don't put out junk.
No, that's true. They got some junk, but they don't usually put out junk.
Yeah, do they? I don't have a lot of experience with HBO. I have HBO Max now because of the Godzilla movie.
No, there's more junk in Hulu than in HBO, I guess.
Yeah. And Hulu, I don't think that necessarily the Hulu one is going to be bad either. I'm more excited for the HBO TV series than I am for the Hulu movie because Hellraiser movies have not, they've had a diminishing return and lower budgets each time, and maybe being on Hulu will make it better than just being a direct to video, Yeah. The Books of Blood movie had a nice had a nice, appropriate budget and decent casting, I think. There was just one little part of that movie I didn't really care for, but...
Yeah, it felt like the idea of the TV show got squeezed into a movie, and then they just put it on Hulu, and it felt like it was a little... I don't know. I just felt like the last segment of the movie could have been a little better. And I really wanted that to be a TV show instead of just a movie. So I don't know if they're going to make a second one.
Yeah, and to be clear... a lot of the arguing on these posts has been about the notion of gender swap, and you see it turns political and people yelling about, oh no, SJWs and all, I don't care about that. If it's a good Hellraiser story, they can do whatever they want. It's their movie, and if they're going to do a pure adaptation of the Hellbound Heart, that would be awesome. Yeah, go for it. If they're going to do something else, if they're going to have different Cenobites, cool.
I'm okay with either one of those options, either adapting the Hellbound Heart into a movie or creating something completely new and reimagining it, as long as it stays faithful to the idea, the main ideas of Hellraiser, which is a Faustian tale. Humans are the real monsters. Cenobites are explorers in the further regions of experience, and so they take you on a ride beyond the limits.
Yeah.
You can do so much stuff with that. It doesn't have to be Frank, Julia, Hammer, killing guys, sucking blood. You can do whatever you want. You can take people on a ride through hell. You can do this. You can do that. So part of me is like, I've read that novella so many times. I've seen the original movie so many times. I've seen the story so many times. I would like to see something new. But I'm okay with either one.
And that god-awful Hellraiser Revelations was adapted from a remake script. So that had sort of remake elements in it already, and it was terrible. So, I mean, I think, give us a fresh movie. And the TV series, I am much less worried about than the Hulu movie. And I'm not really worried about that, except that we're going to be covering it and probably end up watching it like 3 times, for the purpose of this podcast. So I hope that it's good, so that we're not torturing ourselves like I watched Hellraiser Revelations 4 times or so, for our podcast. And
that was 4 times too much.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, for people out there that have a choice, it's nice to say, I heard this one's bad, I'm not going to watch it.
I feel like our discussion kind of confused people, and that was a lot of it was my fault, but
no, it's all right.
So
it's a confusing topic. It really is. And I feel bad for the people out there that don't have a big hobby of following this stuff, because when somebody hears about Hellraiser remake, it's like, oh, well, which Hellraiser project are you talking about? Because now there's 2.
Yeah, but I'm going to call the series and the reboot as the series being the HBO and the reboot being the Hulu. So I'm more excited about the series, just because, one, it'll be a longer story.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be a story broken in chapters and not just a Monster of the Week episode after episode.
I think so, too. I think that's the current trend in television series, and I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, make a really long movie and then cut it into episodes, with a little bit of TV structure in the middle there.
Yeah.
Just to keep it interesting.
Yeah, and that sounds really cool.
That sounds really cool. Clive Barker is really involved with that one. I think he's also involved with the Hulu one, but I don't know to what extent. The movie, the reboot itself, makes me not so excited because of one thing, which is every time a horror franchise has had a reboot, with the exception of Halloween, it's pretty much just stayed within that reboot and then just died off again and nothing else happened.
Like the Nightmare on Elm Street movie killed the...
Yeah, the Friday the 13th remake, they didn't go anywhere. They didn't start a new franchise. They didn't bring it back into the theaters. They didn't make it a better franchise. They just did the one thing, cashed out, that's done.
I guess you could say Halloween survived. Halloween survived that process.
Yeah, Halloween had Rob Zombie make 2 movies out of it, so there was a sequel, and then now they're making this trilogy of Halloween, Halloween Kills, Halloween, ends. So, and the first one was pretty good. Let's be honest, it was pretty good.
I haven't seen it yet. I still haven't.
Oh, you haven't seen it? It's really good. Yeah. I saw that one in the theater too. So yeah, that was one of those last movies I saw.
Must have been like 2019.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No way. I remember I did see that in the theaters. So that was a good experience. I would like to see Hellraiser return to the theaters, but now with this project being like a Hulu thing, that kind of sucks the wind off my excitement for the movie Reboot.
Yeah.
But again, there's a lot of good talent on it. There's David Bruckner. There's the writers of that.
And so I sort of contest this idea.
Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski writing that. So
Mr. H had said you can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be garbage, and I don't agree with that. We don't know. I mean, the Hulu movie was not perfect, but it was better than a lot of Hellraiser sequels that we've seen, in the last couple of decades.
No contest whatsoever there, but I don't know what the future holds for Hellraiser. I wish that these things would all come together in a cohesive thing. I would love to see things actually get a nice vision of what they want to do with the franchise and with the property, and just breathe new life into it instead of just trying to fire off things here and there and see what sticks. But at the same time, I'm excited that Clive Barker is connected to these things. I'm super excited that he's getting back the rights to Hellraiser. And I think these are just growing pains of trying to fish this franchise back from, the slog of the Weinstein Company and, the contractually obligated sequels that it fell into and bring it to a new generation. So I'm hoping for the best for these projects.
Yeah, me too. I mean, honestly, we shouldn't be able to complain. I mean, we go a long time, hearing about. In the past, we would hear about Hellraiser projects and go, "Oh no, here we go again." Starting actually after the last theatrical one, right? I mean, it was Inferno to me came out of nowhere. I hadn't heard anything about it, and all of a sudden, hey, there's one with Craig Sheffer in it, and it's
Boone
direct to video, and I watched that and I thought, well, it's sort of okay, but it's not really like the Hellraiser movies that I know. And then they kept redoing that same Jacob's Ladder premise over and over again after that, and then you find out they're just making sequels so they can hold on to their rights, and they don't give a crap about Hellraiser.
Right, yeah. Anyway, so for our international listeners, there's a few other things that came out recently, late May and early June. The Damnation game got a fresh look from Penguin Random House, so there's a new release of the Damnation game novel from Penguin Random House, so check that one out. There's a Danish release of The Thief of Always, so there's a new Danish release.
That's cool.
It's called Evighedssteven. I think it's probably the Thief of Tomorrow or something. Anyway, Eternity's Thief. There's a new volume. There's a second volume of the Books of Blood being released in Brazil.
That one looks really good.
Yeah. The first one had a really amazing cover, and the second one is also very, very cool. So the anthology Books of Blood Volume 2 coming out in Brazil. Livros de Sangue by Dark Side. So amazing hardcover. If you're a Portuguese reader, you should probably get this one from Brazil. And and Clive Barker has done a collaboration with the CHVRCHES.
No, I missed that. I didn't know about that.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's been posted by Revelations. I saw that the other day, and I was trying to figure out what Clive did, and I think what he did was he offered a cover for their fanzine, Screen Violence.
Okay.
You remember that painting that has like a big rectangle with a giant face glowering at a man?
Tyranny, I think it's Tyranny or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the cover of the fanzine for CHVRCHES. So you can check them out on Facebook.com/CHVRCHES, but CHVRCHES is written with a V where the U should be. And
can you put those links on the news section?
Absolutely.
There? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that right now. So I've listened to them before, so they're kind of all right. Their new album is called Screen Violence. Yeah, go check it out. I don't think Clive collaborates with their music in any way, but definitely there's that fanzine that he offered the cover for. So
yeah, well, that's cool. Going back again to this Hellraiser news, I did see that the Hellraiser podcast, they just put out a 7-minute episode to talk about this news as well, and it just popped up on my phone, so I didn't have a chance to listen to it yet, but hopefully they were able to cut through all this crazy crap as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe we should revisit this on another news episode and have a better idea, because I felt like I was a little confused about this. I was still watching that Mr. H video, and I was getting confused because he was conflating both things together, and I was trying to understand. So we'll probably get back to this.
He's making assumptions too. I mean, he's assuming Clive Barker's involved because of Hulu. He's assuming that it's a remake of the first Hellraiser movie.
Oh, he keeps saying a lot of stuff that's not true and that is completely wrong. Like he's saying, well, Clive Barker's got the rights, so he probably negotiated this with Hulu and Spyglass. It's like, you don't know that.
Yeah,
that's not even mentioned in the article at all.
He's building a total house of cards for and it's like you go back to what we know. Don't start building this.
Clive has the rights back to Hellraiser. He doesn't have the rights until December of this year. So
he won his case. That's the fact. Yeah, that's sort of annoying.
Well,
and it bugs me a little bit that we focus on the truth, and a guy that can put some clickbait, on his headline can get way more traction or way more viewership.
That's the internet for you.
I know. Yeah.
So that's kind of the news. And what else have we got here? You have something here from the Discord?
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, hey, join our Discord. We've got a link on our website at CliveBarkerCast.com where you can get into our Discord chat. And we had a pretty fun thread where people were showing off their Clive Barker collections. And it's kind of our Discord is a neat sort of intimate chat with us, and it doesn't disappear into the ether in the same way as like Facebook does. So for me it feels like home, because I grew up doing bulletin board systems on old pre-HTML. And you dial into your friend's computer who's a sysop for a bulletin board system, and to me, Discord has that feeling, and so that's why I really love the Discord chat, and so I'd like to see more of our listeners go on there, and then also we know that everybody on there is a listener, and not because we have. I'm going to be honest, we've got in our Clive Barker Facebook page. We have something like 3,000 followers on there, but we don't have that many listeners, not even close. It's like 10 times more than what we have for listeners. So I like Discord because it's more of a pure way for us to talk directly to the people who listen and can give us good feedback and tell us what they would like to see and stuff like that, because we got a lot of followers on Facebook that don't listen to our podcast.
Sure, yeah. I'm assuming that there's a lot there not repeat. They just come in every once in a while, and sometimes they might skip a few episodes. But hey, here I am. I'm actually in the Discord right now.
Right, yeah. And I think that I listen to podcasts by subscribing and listening to every single episode, and I think there's probably a lot of people out there that watch the topics. And they listen to an episode if it's got a topic that they like, right? Because if I put the word Hellraiser in the title on this one, which I'm probably going to do, our listenership is going to double on this episode.
Hey, there's a channel for Jericho 77.
Yeah.
And I see you're very active in a conversation with Wetware 23.
Yeah. He's the guy that helped me get into, the Reddit, the Clive Barker Reddit. So now I'm an admin, a co-admin with him on the Reddit.
I'm looking at the show off your collection. Wow, some great photos in here from Raul.
Yeah.
Hey, Raul, how you doing, man?
Yeah, that was really cool.
Name as my brother.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I'm gonna be on this a lot more now.
Okay. I did give away a few things on the Jericho Squad thing because I knew you weren't there. But I think I think we're past that now, so it's okay if you can look in there now.
Okay. All right. That sounds great. No metagaming.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, and it's okay. It's okay to know stuff as long as your character doesn't act like they know it. Sure. But it's more fun if it's not spoiled, I guess.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
More fun for me and better for you.
Yeah.
So cool. There's a lot of stuff going on. We got to cover a lot of ground here, and it's still exciting that. Now we can do news episodes, and there's still a lot of stuff coming out every once in a while. And because there was a lot of before the podcast, there were years where there was basically no major news from the Clive Barker community. And
and then we started getting. Then all of our news was centered around these little small release special edition.
Of books of blood stories and anthologies and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And like Maximilian Bacchus and the First Tales, and there were some little tidbits of cool stuff that was coming out. Some of it we hadn't read before, and others we had, but they had like supplemental material and things like that. But
yeah. It's good to have all this stuff happening now. It feels like more things are coming out every day. And movies are coming out, TV shows, reboots. That's exciting time to be a Clive Barker fan.
I saw you finally just accepted my friend request on Discord.
Yeah, Emmett the Crab.
I put that in there like 2 years ago.
Look, I know that Discord is an established channel for people who used to go on IRC or ICQ or like you were talking about, like bulletin boards, people who play games, people who follow like streamers and stuff like that. I'm kind of old fashioned still in that sense where I'm like, I don't really use Discord. I don't really use that communication. I didn't have anybody else except for you that uses Discord. So that's why I never really went there that much.
I get it. For me, that's my Instagram. I mean, like Instagram, I don't understand why you can put all of that same stuff on Facebook or Twitter. I don't get why Instagram is popular.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's cool. I mean, if you curate, like any other social media, if you curate your followers and who you're following, you get a lot of interesting stuff coming in from Instagram, just like you do in Facebook. Like, it's crazy how, after 2020, I started curating my Facebook a lot more because people say, well, Facebook is trash and there's nothing but garbage and this and that. It's like, well, it depends on who you follow. It depends on the groups that you're in and the pages that you like. If you are going to be in a lot of pages that post nothing but negative content, then you're probably going to see a lot of garbage there. You're going to get riled up. But if you just go and follow like cool things that you're interested in, like pages that post stuff that you're, interested in, like, art and a lot of art stuff and movies, then you're going to get that stuff popping in on your feed and you're going to be like, hey, this is really cool. The content's coming to me and I don't have to look around for interesting stuff as much after you curate your social media. Same with Instagram. Like I'm following a whole bunch of like wildlife photographers and a whole bunch of actors, a whole bunch of like, interesting Instagram accounts. And if you just follow like your friends, sometimes you'll see what they're doing, but not really that much of content except for selfies, a lot of selfies at some point.
So Instagram is sort of in between Twitter and Facebook then?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Because you could follow like interesting people that you're not necessarily friends with.
Yeah, like Ashley Lawrence posts a lot of photos and stuff like from old photos from the set of Hellraiser. Or, hey, I hope everybody's having a great Friday, and she posts a picture of herself as a selfie. So that's kind of cool. You're like, hey, look, it's like she's my real friend in real life. I can see what she's doing every day. Which is kind of creepy, but at the same time, it's kind of cool because.
Well, and Facebook used to be like that, but now it's so cluttered that you don't know what you're going to get when you open Facebook.
Yeah. You have to use third-party tools to like just see stuff from your friends or take out the sponsored content.
Oh God, I don't even know how to do all that. I mean, I have 700 people still that are on my friends list because of real estate, and it's just that every time I think I'm going to start paring this down, I look at the list and I'm going, oh God, that's too much. I don't have time for this.
A little bit at a time, 5 a day, and by the end of the year, you've culled like in 6 months you'll be culling all those people out.
Yeah, and a lot of them I look at it and go, I don't remember this person, or I don't know this person, but I think they did friend request, and I have to figure out, okay, why did they request me? Was it because of podcasts, or was it because of real estate, or because they know somebody that I know? I don't. Yeah.
At that point it just becomes clutter. I just I would just get rid of them or mute them or whatever.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to be seeing all these posts from people who you have nothing in common with, who are just posting stuff that you're probably not interested in anymore, and it just clutters your Facebook. Yeah,
it really does. So Discord, to me, getting back to Discord, to me feels like the old days of, having a little modem community, on a bulletin board system, and so that's what I love about it. And it also has a lot of other useful features like voice chat. So, like, if you're playing video games with somebody, you can just go on the voice chat section of your Discord server and hang out with them and play games with them and stuff.
Yeah, and streamers use that to keep in touch with their community, just like you're doing with the podcast. So
right, yeah. So I like it. I'd like to see more of the people who are on the podcast, people we've had on, Marcus and David and Rob and stuff. If they could get on there, that'd be pretty neat.
Well, we should promote that more. So the Discord, what's the link for the Discord?
Well, we have it in the actually
the sidebar.
Yeah, it's on the sidebar there, and also I should I should put it in the end credits part of all of our show notes. But that's, I keep pasting that from older episodes and I forget. There's also a buy a t-shirt link that I keep I put it on a few of them, but then sometimes I post this from an older episode and it's not on there anymore.
Sure. Hey, I see that the Discord has a channel number, but it's not really like a name. So is that how that works? Do they, or can you customize?
So it's not easy to shout out the name of a server.
Right.
It's easier to
go to 2946-959-17717.
Right. It's easier to have a link, and then somebody joins in. Okay, and those links also expire, so we have to keep checking them every once in a while because you gotta refresh them.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's like an invitation.
Go check out our Discord. You can also get the desktop app from Microsoft for Windows. You can get it for your Android phone. You can get it for Apple.
Yeah.
And look for the Clive Barker Podcast in there.
Yeah. Coming up next, you actually have been doing most of the work in trying to get some interviews scheduled, and I know it's been a little challenging because, just people have stuff going on in their lives, and also, I've been out on vacation for these past couple of weeks.
Yeah,
so trying to find
America, but some don't. So the time difference can be a little hard to schedule, and then people have. Especially people who are in the movie industry, it's kind of hard to get them, in between projects and stuff like that. So some people might be away for a few weeks, like working on a movie, and then that kind of puts everything to a halt. But
right.
Yeah,
and our own schedule too. I mean, we do a D&D game, we do a news episode, we do an episode about a book, and we do interviews.
We work full-time jobs.
Yeah. There's that.
You have a family and a kid.
Yeah, and audio commentaries, right? We still have at least one more of those to do. We're going to be Nightmare on Elm Street. N is from A to Z of horror. N is for Nightmare. We'll be doing the original Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Freddy. He was the guy who scared the heck out of me when the first one came out.
This is the scary version of Freddy, right? This is God.
Yeah. When he... the opening of the movie when he's chasing that girl and his arms stretch out and the claws start like making sparks on the walls and she pushes his face away and there's a skull underneath. That is what I think of immediately when I think of Nightmare on Elm Street, because that scene scared the heck out of me.
And it really captured what it's like to be in a nightmare. And I think that the later ones got so jokey that I didn't. Yeah, it's like they're doing the ironic deaths and stuff like that because this guy likes doing this, so we're gonna. Here you go, you get us all of it. It's the thing that you love or whatever. That to me was way less effective than creepy, scary stuff that doesn't make sense in this dream world. Yeah.
I still have my DVD box with all the movies of Nightmare on Elm Street, including New Nightmare and stuff. So,
and I have rented them all and done I've done a marathon watch of all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But even New Nightmare, I don't care for that much. I really just like the first one.
Sure, I mean I like the first one. I like the Freddy's Dead, even though it's so kind of cheesy. But I like the way that they went on balls to the wall, try to make a closure for it.
Yeah, and, I watched that in the theater with the 3D glasses.
Yeah, isn't that crazy that they would put that scene in the movie where the actress says, "We got to go fight Freddy in this dimension," and she puts on the glasses, like 3D anaglyph glasses, and she puts them on her face, and then sparkles happen and they disappear, then the movie goes into 3D, and I'm like, oh wow,
yeah. And then they do those tropes where like, whoa, look at this knife, whoa, and, the knife's coming out of the screen,
and the nightmare fishy things that were swimming.
Yes,
around.
right. Or when they blow up Freddy with dynamite and his head flies at you out of the screen.
Yeah. Such a fun movie, even though I mean when you look at it, you're like, it's kind of hammy, but I love that. Yeah, and the part where she goes into hell and faces a scarier kind of Freddy Krueger.
I have to say that I like not knowing why Freddy can do all this stuff better than when they come up with these crazy explanations.
Sure. Say that it was the nightmare demons gave him that job.
Yeah.
Because he was just such a dark soul. But then the whole Fangoria era stuff, where it's like, well, he was just a janitor that abused kids, and the parents burned him, and they became a ghost. So that was perfect, right? That was enough.
Yeah.
But then it's like, no, but his mother was a nun, and she was violated by 10,000 maniacs, and they and that's how he was conceived, and it's like, okay, wow, that's
and then he went to hell and he met the sleep demon or what? Yeah,
but original crazy stuff. But it definitely was something of an era. Just like the 90s were pretty cool. I mean, the 90s for horror were pretty cool. There was a lot of experimentation, a lot of wacky stuff being thrown out there. And nowadays things are a little more subdued, a little more like dark and silent and brooding and stuff. But the 90s were, rock and roll horror. That was really fun.
Yeah, and I suppose if you look at it from that point of view, I mean, I always watched him, in comparison to the first movie. And I guess that's not a good way to enjoy them.
Yeah, no, I definitely got a deeper understanding of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise when I bought that box that came with like 8 movies.
Yeah.
Because some of those I had never seen before, maybe 1 or 2 or 3. Maybe I hadn't seen all of them. I had seen some of them. But then I saw the whole thing and I was like, wow, that's kind of a trip. Some of these movies are pretty fun.
Yeah.
But so I'm looking forward to watching the first one again.
Yeah, fun in the way that Hellraiser 3 is a fun movie if you don't... Like when we talked to Pete Atkins about Hellraiser 3, right? He's like, it's a good movie, but maybe it's not a good Hellraiser movie. And it's like, that makes sense. And it is a fun movie when you don't try to say, now wait a minute, Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to trash Hellraiser 3. I love that movie, but when you watch it nowadays, you kind of feel like you can see the low budget. You can see that it's a small scale kind of stuff. Like there could have been a lot more extras in there. There could have been a lot more stuff going on.
I think it's a fun movie and it's a good. It's a neat idea, but it doesn't really continue the Hellraiser story in a way that probably people would have wanted.
Oh sure, yeah, after 2, yeah.
I mean. It's a little convoluted to say, well, the spirit of the evil demon that is now loose on Earth, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know.
What we need is Kevin Feige, like the guy who kind of planned out the whole Marvel cinematic universe thing.
Yeah.
That's what we need on a horror franchise. The guy who says, we'll start with this origin movie, then we'll move into, why he's like he is, like the things that he does, and how he's going to be defeated, and, make like a whole, like, story overarching a bunch of movies.
Everybody else who tries to do that has failed, right? I mean, like the Dark Universe and the even the DC movies are not. They tried to be cohesive, but they're really not that well put together in terms of an overarching story.
Yeah, no. Yeah, some of them contradict each other, like the Wonder Woman 1984, and then there's the other Wonder Woman in the Justice League. And it's like, in one movie she's supposed to have been laying low for decades, but in another one she's, pretty much doing superhero work on a city every day. And it's like, okay, that's said something different in another movie.
Yeah.
But
I watched Wonder Woman 84, and I know people really, really trashed that movie. But I thought it was kind of okay. I mean, I thought the bad guy, just like the first Wonder Woman movie, the bad guy was not that great.
Yeah.
He's some guy that could grant wishes.
Hey. Yeah. It brings me to Wishmaster. I should be watching that again.
Yeah, Wishmaster did it better. And then, but the action in Wonder Woman was pretty cool. Seeing her flying around and shooting her lasso at stuff.
And that guy looks like a Trump, right? I mean, he's like a politician. And he's got the toupee kind of looking hair and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that I don't want to see or hear him anymore.
I hear you, buddy.
Yeah.
So and then we'll continue with Jericho Squad 77, which is pretty fun. I mean, I want to say on a personal note, I really enjoyed the fact that, and if you haven't heard this, go listen to it. But you're bringing these little bits of Clive Barker universe into the story, and on our last one, you brought Gregory's Folly, the hell on Africa that he built to talk to the devil.
Yeah, in the story, all it said was that it was in North Africa. So I thought, well, I know Tunisia is a desert, so that's kind of, and it's right in the top center of Africa. So from Down Satan in the Books of Blood. Yeah, and so that's actually, I mean, we didn't get as far as I thought. I planned all the way to the 5th level, and you guys made it to the second? Yeah, the end of the 2nd level.
Yeah.
And I tried to get Rob to plan the entire thing all the way to the 9th level with all the maps and everything, and, we just ran out of time, and so we only got to 5th. But it turns out we didn't need all of that yet. But it'll be probably months that you guys are going to be in hell.
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, you only got to the second level, and there's 9 levels of that thing.
Okay, all right.
Well, I mean, not months for your characters, but months for in real time, because we do one of these episodes a month.
Sure. So you're gonna make us go all the way down to the 9th level?
Well, you guys are in charge of whether you do that or not, but that's
sure.
Your mission takes you there.
Okay, all right. So our mission is to recover. Wait, I forgot what my mission was.
So
it's been a few weeks.
Yeah, so you're trying to figure out why demons are populating this place again,
right?
And shut that down.
Gotcha. The portal. So that portal should be at the bottom of it.
Yeah, it's in the 9th level, and that's where Bentley and Cassius Breyer went the first time they went. The Squad 77 went there.
Okay, so it's going to be a while until I see my brother again.
Yeah. Oh, and it's interesting that Joe brought up somebody had brought up, like, maybe it was Brandt, that maybe that was Squad 76. And in my mind, the numbers change when everybody dies. So if the whole squad gets killed and you have to replace all of them, then it takes on a new number.
Okay, I got that.
Or if you have to completely start the squad over from scratch. So that makes it a little frightening that there's at least 77, squads.
Well,
that have been out there.
There's also several numbers that are active. So
yeah, there are about.
It's not like 76 squads died before ours.
Yeah, but there are only about 10 or so of them.
Yeah. Okay.
That I know of. There's more things to consider, but.
Well, this is definitely going to be an interesting series, considering now we're going to be going through 9 circles of hell, maybe. And,
the sort of false hell, but it's becoming more real because of the demons inhabiting it.
Because I thought we were going to be focusing more on the Aboriginal children, but I guess you might have some idea on how this is going to connect. So I'm putting my trust on you.
Well, and it's in game time, it's a lot of game time in there, but playing time. It's a lot of playing time in the hell area because battles take forever, right? But when you look at a battle when it's over, 1 round equals 6 seconds.
Sure.
So 10 whole rounds of battle, which is exhausting and takes forever. It takes like 6 hours to do 10 rounds. That's 1 minute.
Yeah, but then also in game time. In game world time, like we just had 1 day go by,
right? Yeah, or not even not even a day because you only just took a short rest. So it's not like a long rest would be like when you go to bed at night. So you guys have just probably only been there for maybe an hour.
Yeah,
and then it'll you take another hour for your short rest and go do some more and probably 2 or 3 days of in the in-game time was probably what it'll be, and then you can get back to the other stuff.
Nice. So, yeah,
you had a sneak peek at Cassius Breyer, and you don't want to fight him.
Yeah,
yet.
Because but I'm having fun with this. I changed my character's class. I went from a sway worker to a sword singer.
Yes, sword. I think that's it, right? Sword singer. Yeah, you had a subclass that was like more about studying books, I think, and then you switched it to the, which is cool. It makes sense in his character arc that he's just learning how to use this Eurydimek silken sword.
Yeah, and he wasn't really like super adept on combat and stuff, but
and so now
very low charisma.
Combining the silken sword skills with magic, makes him kind of unique compared to like his brother Drovo, who doesn't have magic. He's a monk, so he's got really good fighting skills and he can swing his sword around really well. But you're able to combine it with magic, which makes it more powerful.
Yeah, and now I took his job.
Right.
Well,
Drovo's going to focus on his political career.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been Huluraiser, the news episode for Juneteenth.
Oh no!
Yeah,
do you want to do you want to call it Huluraiser?
Yeah, this is your title. I mean,
I did write that on there.
And I think it's perfect.
I wrote that a long time ago.
Episode. I said it. It's done.
Yeah, that was May 23rd when I first put this note together. Though that was the only news we had was the one at the time was that it's on Hulu.
It's a very enlightened title. Yes, I like it.
It's simple, but it's not gonna catch keyword searches because nobody's gonna search for Huluraiser.
Well.
Yeah. But yeah, that's cool. That's not bad. I mean, unless there's something else, I don't want to put gender swap. That's there's a difference between wanting to get more people to look at our stuff and clickbait. And I think that other one is clickbait.
Getting the right people to look at our stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the people who want to bring like negative energy and complain about this when there's nothing to complain because Pinhead was actually, the Cenobites were androgynous creatures.
Yeah.
Very empty shells of, nothing but servants of Leviathan. And I didn't even think they were human at the time when I saw the movie. Then when I saw the second one, I was like, oh, so these are actual people. Okay.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting is, the neat thing about these arguments, not the stupid SJW arguing or whatever, but the neat thing that I like about seeing these arguments is that some people will come in and say, Pinhead was a female in the original book, and other people will go, no, Pinhead was a male, and they got me thinking, you know what? I think Pinhead is whatever you envisioned in your mind when you read The Hellbound Heart.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, that's the best way of putting it is that, when a writer writes a book, it's not like a movie. Like it's not crystallized and this is going to be played by this actor, so now he looks like him. That's the beauty of the book, which is you put in as much as the writer puts in.
Right, yeah.
You're creating that in your mind. And they're describing something, and you get to create that in your mind. When I read books, I kind of see a movie in my mind's eye. It's like, I'm reading through descriptions, and I'm creating that, in my mind's eye. So,
and jeweled pins is completely different from the nails that we had in the movie, and that's okay. It's okay to have the movie a little different than the book.
Yeah, so that's why I'm open to the idea of Hellraiser being not just the faithful adaptation of the book, but also being something completely different, as long as it stays faithful to some of the ideas which I think are core to the Hellraiser story.
Yeah, I would want to say also that I think it's okay to retire the Pinhead character if they want to.
Oh, yeah, no, I've said that plenty of times. I mean, I said I want to see more Cenobites, which was one of the things from the movies that I actually enjoyed, was that every movie came out with different Cenobites, right? Like Bound and Surgeon and all. But then they started recycling those makeups, and they were like, well, now Bound is male, but he has the same face.
Yeah.
Or, now Chatterer has Pinhead's suit painted black. And it just became like the low budget thing started getting into it.
Do you remember? This reminds me of the Star Trek movies. Do you remember when they made Star Trek Generations? And it was like it just felt like they were so scared of trying to make a Star Trek movie without Captain Kirk in it, that they had to make this convoluted time travel plot. To put
the Nexus.
Yeah, so that Captain Kirk could hand over the mantle of Star Trek movies to Captain Picard. It was so hammy and dumb, and it feels like there's people out there that believe you can't have a Hellraiser movie without Pinhead.
Yeah. I understand their opinion. I mean, it's just an opinion. It's just what they want to see, but at the same time, it's the people who make the decisions, I think, feel that way, right? That
what if we make a movie without Pinhead? Nobody's going to come and watch it. And I don't think that's true at all. I think that
with that way of thinking, then you wouldn't make anything new ever. You just keep doing what works, and you just keep using formulas.
Well, and that's a little bit of where we're at in the movie industry, I think.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of sequels, a lot of, Cars 2, Cars 3, Planes 2.
Vacuum cleaners.
Yeah. Vacuum cleaners.
Maximum Overdrive.
Wow. That's at least in the 90s there was a lot of and I'm not trying to say the 90s were the perfect decade, but in the 90s there was a lot of experimentation. There was a lot of money being thrown at projects, and nowadays it's more like, I don't know if I want to make that. You got an idea, but people are trying to get money, and except for these streaming platforms, studios are being very cautious. They're like, well, let's just do what we got. What do we already owe? What do we own already that we can use and repackage? Or they're trying to make, like Morgan Creek's trying to make TV shows out of
The Exorcist
Guns and The Exorcist and the Cronenberg movie with the twin brothers.
The Dead Ringers.
Dead Ringers.
Yeah.
They want to try to develop that into a TV show? What the hell?
Maybe thinking of it sort of like Dexter or something. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's just like they get these ideas, and that some executive in a room says, how can we milk this?
Yeah. And I think it would be a mistake to make a David Cronenberg thing without him. Doesn't it seem that way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Couldn't you? I mean, could you see a Videodrome 2?
Really?
Yeah.
Without Cronenberg? No. And I don't need to, because it ends in a perfect spot, and it leaves the rest to your imagination, and that's what makes it interesting.
And they see the Nightbreed TV series the same, and that's one that it's like, oh God, what's happening with that? Right? I mean, we've been spending all this time today talking about Hellraiser, but this Nightbreed TV series has just sort of floated off into the ether, and we don't know if it's ever going to come out.
Yeah. And the Weave World project. That
Great and Secret Show and Imajica.
That's all we can do is just say what we feel about it. That's our thing. We don't have any special connections to any of this. So what you hear is just our opinions. It's just us talking about this and trying to cover as much as we can.
Yeah, and we're not going to put clickbaity titles and and make a mountain of assumptions.
Make a bunch of create a narrative around something and say, I think that this guy did this, and I think this is what they're doing. And it's like,
and because Clive Barker wanted the money, and he gave he had Hulu give him money to put the Hellraiser remake on the Hulu, and it's like, geez, dude, dial it back. You're way out into speculation territory.
Yeah. Well, that's just the way it is. I mean, there's a lot of channels on YouTube nowadays, and they all have to stand out. So the best way to stand out is just to come up with, stuff that is juicy. Stuff that's juicy and makes people like, oh, I wonder what he's going to say about this. Yeah. This guy knows his stuff. Yeah. And it's like, no, it's just speculation. It's just clickbaity stuff. But anyway. So I feel like we actually, for a news episode, we actually ranted and raved a lot. We're going at 1 hour 48 minutes of our Skype call.
Well, and honestly,
not all on the record.
It's also because we do these news episodes. We've got so much stuff to cover that because we do these only once a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and this thing kind of came out only 2 days ago. This Mr. H video, but then when you look at what he's citing, the Illuminati website, the gender swap thing was from actually like in May, month. That was like a month ago.
I think it's really just it's a non-story. I think it's a non-story because I don't even know if this is really going to happen or if it's just happening because they want to adapt the Hellbound Heart Pinhead.
Yeah, it's a headline you can put on something to make people argue.
Yeah, it's like saying, "Oh, there's going to be graphic torture in the next Hellraiser reboot. There's going to be lots of gory torture." And it's be like, okay, yeah, I expect that in a Hellraiser movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's our news episode, Huluraiser. So give us your opinions on what you think about these Hellraiser projects, and let us know if you got any Suntup edition news, if you received anything yet or not.
Yeah, we will be jealous of those people who got one of those.
Yeah. Well, that's it, and I hope you guys stay safe and have fun on the weekend, and keep reading good Clive Barker stories.
And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have subscribed. You can find the Clive Barker Podcast wherever you find audio. Show notes for this episode, as well as news and reviews, can be found at our website at www.clivebarkercast.com. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans. Watch for our annual Kickstarter fundraisers to get some cool stuff, and you can buy t-shirts on our TeePublic store. Go to tpublic.com and search for BarkerCast.
Thanks for listening.